Okay, Miller, don't hurt the mayor. We'll give you whatever you want.
First, don't fuck with me. I'm a desperate man. And second, I want some fresh coffee. And third, I want a recount. And no matter how it turns out, I want my old job back.
Okay.
And I want a bigger office. And I want a new car. And I want the city to pay for it all.
What kind of car, Miller?
Something with reclining leather seats that goes really fast and gets really shitty gas mileage.
How about the 6000 SUX?
Yeah. Okay, sure. What about cruise control? Does it come with cruise control?
Hey, no problem, Miller. Let the mayor go. We'll even throw in a blow pump.
Lieutenant, don't jerk me off! But people jerk me off, and I kill them! I'll buy that for $1.
Nuclear warheads, the weapons of mass destruction, and missiles are on the Lord's band, and pointed at every nation. Joy gets shorter. Crates of guns and ammo from country to country they go.
Well, it seems like the Democrat leadership in New York is purposely burning the whole place to the ground. New York City's been suffering from, for a long time now, from COVID, and then there was mass riotings. Yep, for some reason, Bill DeBlosio still, he sides with these riots. I mean, not overtly like telling people to go out and riot, but he goes to the marches with these people and he supports it. He paints their message right in front of Donald Trump, the Trump Towers. And then what do we get? Destroyed businesses from COVID, destroyed businesses from the riots. And then we get Andrew Cuomo putting sick COVID patients into nursing homes that resulted in 6,500 people dying. 6,500 people died from Andrew Cuomo. And now they've set up checkpoints around Manhattan. There's going to be a 14-day quarantine and a $10,000 fine for anybody who breaks that quarantine. It means tourists aren't going to come to Manhattan. It's all going to end up in the result of the property values tanking. People are trying to flee already. They're already fleeing the city and leaving empty buildings behind. Tourists, they just won't come. They're facing the New York City. Is it New York City or the state? I can't remember. But they're facing a $30 billion budget shortfall. I wonder why. I wonder why they're continuously doing this. I thought maybe it was ineptitude, their stupidity, but I don't think they're that dumb. I just don't think they're that dumb. So now Bill DeBlosio is mocking all the wealthy that as they flee, while Andrew Cuomo begs them to stay because they need the money. The wealthy in the top 1%, I think Cuomo said the 1% pays for 50% of the taxes in New York City. So Blasio is calling them all fair weather friends. Let them go. Who cares? Who needs them? So why would he do this? I've said it for a couple of months now about the Bill DeBlosio, and I did a little piece on him about his background, and his real name is not Bill DeBlosio. So why would he continue to do this while everyone flees and leaves these empty, worthless properties? Well, the prices tank. The rich people come in and buy up all the buildings for pennies on the dollar. And once the economy recovers, now they own large swaths of the city. It appears that's actually the case going on. It's coming from the government. We're now learning what may be the true motive of Bill DeBlosio. Why he's putting homeless people in luxury hotels, why he's putting convicted pedophiles and offenders, sex offenders, near playgrounds, and why he would do this. It's going to destroy the economy. It's going to destroy property. It's going to drive people out. And there it is. Bill DeBlosio reveals he wants to buy empty New York City buildings and turn them into affordable housing after moving 13,000 homeless people into hotels for more than $2 million a night, and shaming rich residents who left to escape COVID-19 as fair-weathered friends. That's it. It's, Bill DeBlosio has a radical agenda. We know this. He's burning the city to the ground on purpose so that he can buy up all the buildings and put poor people in them. All right, well, I'm all about helping poor people. Setting up shelters and low-income housing, that's fine. I'm not about an authoritarian dictatorship style of destroying people's lives and forcing them to flee. That's not right. And that's exactly where he comes from, and that's exactly who he is. Because de Blasio is actually causing pain and suffering to some people for the price of other people. Now the left will argue, I don't care, the rich, they'll be fine, and yeah, to some extent, you're right. I agree. I mean, look at in the end, if we can get homeless people, shelter and to take care of themselves and give them services to make sure we can deal with this problem, well, it's okay. That's a good thing. But you got to understand, though, a lot of these homeless people have a mental illness. And what Bill DeBlosio is doing is he's destroying the city's economy, which will hurt the middle class more when there's no jobs, nowhere to work, and there's no tax revenue services. So all he wants to do is sweep the problem under the rug. He's not actually trying to do anything other than burn it all down, sweep the problem under the rug. Putting homeless people in houses is not a long-term solution. And it doesn't address what caused the homelessness in the first place. So, Mayor Bill DeBlosio on Friday revealed a plan to buy properties around the city and turn them into permanent affordable housing after moving more than 10,000 homeless people into hotels during the COVID-19 pandemic, and shaming rich residents who have left the city as fair-weathered friends. At a press conference on Friday, he did not say which type of buildings the city had its eye on, and the city is refusing to give more details, citing privacy concerns. De Blasio only said there was an opportunity to get creative now when it came to finding housing for New York's homeless. It presents a stark scenario for landlords or building owners who may be struggling to collect rent from current tenants, many of whom, both commercial and residential, have absconded. The homeless in hotels scheme set up by de Blasio is one of many components to an escalating change in the city. Downward change in the city. Let me help you out with that. You mean the death spiral? That's what's going on. The people who pay taxes are gone. The tax base in New York has been completely eroded. Who's going to pay for it? Who's going to pay for all the utilities? Who's going to pay for the water, the MTA, mass transit? The middle class and lower class will suffer the most, so that Bill DeBlosio, the city can snatch up all these buildings. Now, maybe DeBlosio wants to buy these, and it's his plan for the city to turn around. The middle class and the lower class are going to suffer from this. The taxes are going to go sky high. And you people, my friends around here, even in central New York, if you think your taxes aren't going to go up and we're not going to be paying for this, you're crazy. You're crazy. So I think what his plan is to buy up all the property around New York City for pennies on the dollar. He's doing it now, so it seems like a government effort. Though I wouldn't put it past DeBlosio, because he's a scumbag, to personally buy up the buildings, considering he's the landlord himself. This dude is not some utopian hero. He's not even that progressive. He buys properties, owns properties, and he's a capitalist. And he's unrepentant. You see, what he does is the worst aspects of it. Pretends to be a hero for the left, uses that to destroy people's lives, and then he can buy all these properties on the cheap. Once the prices gets jacked up, then he sells them at a premium. Many of New York's wealthy residents fled months ago, taking their disposable income and their tax dollars with them. And there are fears they may have never come back. Crime is on the up, but de Blasio has stripped the police force of $1 billion in response to Black Lives Matter protest. Think about that. He took away the anti-crime unit, and crime is skyrocketing now. He puts convicted criminals and homeless people in these luxury hotels in Manhattan. Now the wealthy are fleeing. He's going to buy up all this property. He's going to buy the property up. Wasn't this RoboCop? You remember in the RoboCop movies when corporate America aids criminals and helps incite riots so they can lower property values and buy up the city while privatizing the city's police force? Science fiction is crazy, huh? Yeah. Yeah, well, about that. Let's see what's next. Oh, right here. Oh, look at this. Outrage from Daily Mail. Outrage as Manhattan's district attorney drops the felony charge against BLM leader accused of assaulting an NYPD cop and releases him on bail. Now, why would they do that? To be fair, they're dropping it from a felony to a misdemeanor. So it's not really dropping the entire charges. But one of the big questions is, all these places like Portland and Seattle, they keep releasing these criminals back into the street. New York, Chicago, Seattle, Portland. They're just, it's like a revolving door. The cops pick them up, charge them with a felony, and then the DAs release them. Why is that? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Why are they releasing all the criminals from their prisons? I think we can only speculate, but Bill DeBlosio wants to buy up these cheap properties. Could it be that by releasing prisoners, allowing riots to destroy their businesses, releasing these criminals back into the street destroys the property value of the city? And then once they own the cheap property, they'll gentrify everything back up, boot out the poor people, and they'll own everything. Almost everything. So I think that's what's going on. Some retailers and restaurants have been forced to close permanently, and those who are hanging on face continuously changing and difficult rules, like having to sell substantial amounts of food to customers to avoid crowds gathering. DeBlosio and Cuomo are enforcing checkpoints to stop tourists from 35 COVID hotspot states from entering the city without quarantining for 14 days. Now that there's no tourist revenue and they're doing everything to make sure that they stay wealthy, they're destroying all the small businesses on top of it. Earlier this year, it emerged that 139 struggling hotels are taking in homeless people to avoid deathly COVID-19 breakouts in shelters. The effort is being mostly paid for by FEMA, but 25% of it is coming from the city's shrinking budget. It brings some cash to the struggling hotels, which are decimated by the pandemic, hence no tourism. Through the program, they take $175 per person per night, which is more than 13,000 homeless currently being housed in hotels. That's more than $2.275 million, according to the anonymous city sources who have been quoted since May. And here's some photos of it. You know, these guys are just like coming out here. Look at the shithole they're turning this into. And they're still sleeping on the streets. Look at it. They're still in the garbage. Look at the garbage. Jesus Christ. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. They most of these guys just walk outside and just start doing drugs right on the sidewalk. And you know, the problem is a lot of these people are mentally ill. It doesn't help to just put them in an apartment or a hotel room. They need help living. They need help finding food, staying clean and sober, you know, and healthy. Some of these guys need medication. The answer isn't simply to sweep it all under the rug. The question is, I wonder why these people are being moved into these areas. Why they're just going out into the street anyways. But there it is, man. On Friday, after wealthy residents on the Upper West Side took to social media in their droves to complain about homeless people from three of the hotels terrorizing the streets with urinating, loitering, and drug taking. DeBlosio said the system was not permanent, but would likely continue until there is a vaccine, something that is still months away. How insane is that? Remember 15 days to slow the spread? Well, now we can't stop it. We can't stop anybody from getting it. You know, we wanted to slow the spread so that the hospitals didn't get overwhelmed, remember? Now we're going to stop it, period. They're spitting in your face. Bill DeBlosio is a criminal. He used taxpayer money against the law to paint a political slogan, and then he used the NYPD to protect it. And shame on you cops for helping Bill DeBlosio with his political re-election campaign. But I say, at the end of the dark day, it's a leadership problem. That's all. Let's see, where was I? Oh, the goal here continues to be to deal with the short term, which let's say is 6 months-ish, while we're dealing with the crisis until people are vaccinated. Yeah. Once we get out of that, we're going to move out of the hotels and go back to the shelter system. We're going to constantly try to reduce the number of people in shelters. We are going to have an opportunity here to be creative and get people into other, better housing, he said. He was asked if the city would consider turning the hotels into permanent housing, and he answered vaguely. There are buildings we control already, and that's where we're looking into or want to control or purchase. We're looking into to do the permanent affordable housing. There it is, man. There it is. Man, if I was you, don't go to New York City. Don't invest in it. You got to be nuts. I'll tell you what. You're going to get with these people for the next 10 years, it's going to get way worse. They're going to have more permanent shelters. They're going to do more of what they're already doing, and it's going to destroy the city. But I wonder, as many people do, is this on purpose? I mean, the point of this segment is to say it seems like it's on purpose. From everything I'm looking at here, it definitely seems like it's on purpose. Now you could argue, like the left probably will, we need to protect these homeless people. People shouldn't die just because they're poor, and I agree. And if we're trying to help them by giving them shelters and COVID is a problem, we need to relook at where we relocate these people. What if I told you Bill DeBlosio was illegally doing this? What if I told you that everything he was doing is not okay? But a lot of what he's doing is actually against the law. And I bring you the worst of it. This is the New York Post. New York City illegally placed pedophiles near Upper West Side playground. The city dumped at least 6 homeless pedophiles, all still on parole, at a luxury Upper West Side hotel, just a block away from an elementary school playground. An apparent violation of state law, online records show. Tell me they're not doing this on purpose. They didn't have to do that. There's plenty of places to put these people. They didn't have to put them in an area where there's children. He's just destroying Bill DeBlosio is destroying the lives of regular people. The outrage is only the latest slap in the face to the residents of Manhattan neighborhood who, as the Post reported, have had to deal with everything from public urination to open drug use since the city began moving hundreds of homeless into the area amid coronavirus. Completely unacceptable, seethed Sabina Popovich, 32, who was at the playground with her daughter, 5, and son, 1, on Friday. Get out of there. Is the riots not enough for you? Get the hell out of there. 6 parolees, including a man who... I'm not even going to... You can read that yourself. It's disgusting. It's got a... The hotel is just under 1,000 feet from the playground of PS 87. And New York State law bars such high-risk offenders on probation or parole from knowingly entering into or upon schools or other facilities primarily used by children. If a minor is present, courts have interpreted that to mean that they must keep 1,000 feet away. When reached for comment on a Thursday, registry on when reached for comment on the registry listings showing the men currently live at the Belle Claire. A city rep said Friday that the listings are not accurate and that the names you reference are not at that location. Asked if the men had ever lived at that hotel and why that remained their official address, the rep declined to further comment, citing confidentiality rules. And there it is. They're freaking lying. They're lying and they're burning it down. The city began quietly moving the homeless into Belle Claire and the Upper West Side hotels in recent weeks, amid fears that the shelters couldn't provide enough pandemic social distancing. The six sex offenders who are still on parole, and according to the sex offender registry, living at the Belle Claire as of Friday night. I'm not going to go through them. I'm not even going to say anything about them. So I just don't buy it, man. There's so many ways that New York City could have accommodated these homeless, putting them in wealthier or middle class areas of families. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, you got Staten Island, you got Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx. There's plenty of places. But see, those property values aren't worth anything. A lot of those places. Manhattan, that's where all the money is. That's where Wall Street is. That's where everything is. So, they're striking at the core of New York's tax base, the 1% who pays 50% of the taxes, according to Cuomo. And they're fleeing. They're out. They're gone. They have the means. They left. They ain't coming back. And I don't blame them. So, I mean, I guess my thing is, I'm really seriously looking to get the hell out of here myself. New York State's going to burn to the ground. And it could actually, New York City's going to burn to the ground, but it's going to take the state with them. So, and DeBlosio is just going to become the king, I guess, of New York. He's going to own all the property. He's going to own, him and his buddies are going to own everything. I don't know what good it's going to do him. Well, like I said, they'll probably buy it all up for pennies on a dollar. It happens in every country all the time. Buy it up for pennies on a dollar, and then, maybe 10 years from now, they'll turn it around and then be able to sell it all at a big profit. He doesn't need, he's got time. The man's filthy, stinking rich. So he's got time. He doesn't have to sell it. It's not like he's got to flip this thing. He's buying them all up now, and then, 10, 20 years from now, maybe he'll resell them, and New York City can start healing from all this, but I doubt it. And until that time, me and you are going to be paying for it all. So, the biggest problem with New York that I have right now is not, I'll fight the government. I'll fight the government tooth and nail. I'll go to jail if I have to, pay fines, do whatever I got to do. But I can't fight the will of the people. And the will of the people is to vote people like DeBlosio and Cuomo into office. It's all on you, man. You want it? You can have it. I'm out. So, all right. I'm going to leave that right there and just let that sink in for a little bit. And you better hope I'm wrong. But from all this stuff that I'm seeing, I'm not wrong. That's what's exactly going to happen. I got another segment coming up, some national stuff that's it's better, but it's even bigger than this. So I just wanted to tell my New York friends, watch your back, man. All right. Whew, the shit is about to hit the fan, boy. I've been looking at this one guy's post. His name is Brian Cates. He's an independent journalist. But he's put out this long thread, and I'll read it to you, and it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. So he says, you all know why Trump has left the White House, being seen off by the entire White House staff before he traveled to Ohio, because he won't be back for a while. He's going to go to his resort in Bedminster, New Jersey, right? So you can see when he left for Ohio, all of his staff was out there to see him off. It's that picture kind of got me too. I wasn't sure. He also said that he goes on to say everybody focuses on Spygate, or Obamagate. The new name some have adopted for the scandal was Obamagate. Step back and remember the big picture. What were Obama and company so desperate to keep hidden if Trump won the election? I can think of three things off the top of my head that Obama, Hillary, and Biden, and a whole lot of the D.C. swamp would be frantic to keep from being exposed. That includes Republicans too. Number one, Uranium One. The sale of 25% of the U.S. uranium stocks, placing them under the direct control of Vladimir Putin and the Russians. That was under Hillary as Secretary of State. Massive bribes paved the way to get the deal done to sell out our country. People who took the dirty money are desperate to keep it buried. Number two, untold billions of dollars in U.S. aid sent to corrupt foreign governments where U.S. officials not only knew much of this aid was being stolen, they kept the money flowing in exchange for a couple of $1 million kickback to them in D.C. under the table. And number three, the Wiener laptop, which is reported to have had stuff on it that caused veteran NYPD detectives to throw up. That's a disgusting story. Then he says, I'll add a fourth. The secret side deals and bribery that went on to get the Iran deal done, as well as all the Obama White House spying on members of Congress opposed to the deal and reporters investigating the illegal activity. Something's about to happen. Trump needs to be in a tightly controlled environment while whatever this is goes down. A lot of people have access to the White House that will not have access to him at Bedminster. The Optima FBI raids in Cleveland and Miami 3 days ago sent a clear signal to the president's enemies that yes, indeed, he and Barr and Rudy are going to see this through. They are really going to do it. They have not been bluffing. Those FBI raids in Cleveland and Miami were directly linked to the Ukrainian corruption that caused at least $6 billion in U.S. tax money sent to the Ukraine to disappear to Ukraine. It's not the Ukraine. The two offices that were raided were involved in a massive amount of money laundering. It turns out that two of the Ukrainian oligarchs that ran Private Bank, it's Privat Bank with no E, a large bank that got $1.8 billion in U.S. aid, and then lost it. Laundered hundreds of millions of dollars through over a dozen shell companies, and then used the laundered money to purchase real estate in Cleveland. For about a year and a half, ever since Rudy Giuliani revealed he was investigating the money trail of all this stolen U.S. aid in Ukraine, the Democrats and DNC media roundly mocked him and lampooned him, but it didn't stop anything. So this is on MSN News. Ukrainian oligarch at the center of Cleveland raid describes as ruthless businessmen who laundered millions, records say. And they went in and seized paperwork and computers. The FBI went in and raided them. So then he says, so let's review. Let's review what happened over the past 3 days. Trump's enemies got a huge tripwire tripped from two simultaneous FBI raids targeting the private bank stolen money laundering trail in Cleveland and in Miami. Trump travels to Cleveland, poses in front of a bunch of laundering machines, and then he says this.
The drugs. So I have a lot of enemies out there. This may be the last time you'll see me for a while. A lot of very, very rich enemies, but they are not happy with what I'm doing. But I figure we have one chance to do it, and no other president's going to do what I do. No other president would do a favored nations, a rebate, a buy from other nations at much less cost. Nobody. It has to be.
Trump then doesn't go back to the White House. Turns out the staff came out to see him off before he left Cleveland, because nobody's going to be seeing him for a while, and that he supposedly left Cleveland for Bedminster. While Trump was appearing in Cleveland yesterday, this gets filed by the DOJ to seize assets of private bank purchased with its laundered money in Kentucky and Texas. So I'll put all these links in the description for these news articles that you can go read. Justice Department seeks forfeiture of 2 commercial properties. The United States filed 2 civil forfeiture complaints today in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida, alleging that commercial real estate in the Louisville, Kentucky, and Dallas, Texas, both acquired using funds misappropriated from private bank in the Ukraine, are subject to forfeiture based on violations of the federal money laundering statutes. Of course, all the real estate the private bank money was used to buy in Cleveland and Miami will also end up being seized. Now you know why Trump has been carefully setting up asset forfeiture for the past 3 years. And this is another article saying how Ukrainian oligarchs, this is from The Scene, how Ukrainian oligarchs secretly became the largest real estate owners in downtown Cleveland. In an explosive legal complaint filed last month in Delaware, attorneys for a major Ukrainian bank alleged that 2 oligarchs who founded the bank and controlled it from 2006 to 2016 laundered hundreds of millions of dollars in fraudulent corporate loans to purchase assets in the United States and unjustly enrich themselves and their associates. And then he says, understand this clearly. Up to 3 years ago, a lot of people involved in this massive worldwide corruption were likely telling themselves Trump wouldn't dare do this. The repercussions would be far too great. He would know they would come after him in sheer desperation. And with those raids, and that very first of the many asset forfeiture filings by the DOJ yesterday, these people now know the truth down to the marrow of their bones. Trump is going to do it. He's really going to do it. He and Barr and Rudy are pulling the pin on this grenade. And now that that pin has been pulled, the Democrats and the GOP involved, the foreign leaders out there involved, and the media, they all know where that grenade is being tossed. It's in the air right now, coming towards them. Do not underestimate the desperation and the sheer viciousness these people would descend into in their attempts to do whatever it takes to keep that grenade from landing in their midst and going off, completely exposing them. Trump certainly isn't. So, he goes on to say, everything I used in this thread is publicly available information. It's just that the mainstream media, which I affectionately refer to as the DNC media complex, will never put this together for you like I do. They have a vested interest in hiding it. I have no secret, hidden insider sources. I'm not getting inside baseball info from anybody in D.C. or in Trump's circle. I live in an apartment in South Texas. Everything I see and comment on from down here is available to the mainstream media reporters. The people who spent months viciously mocking Rudy Giuliani for his Ukraine fantasies, you think they want to explore what those Optima Ukraine private bank Biden Kerry Obama raids in Cleveland and Miami point to. All the billions in missing dollars, some of which was laundered here. They don't want any of this to be happening, much less cover it on their news networks and websites and newspaper magazines. But it's happening. Rudy wasn't crazy. They have the evidence. They followed the money laundering trail from Ukraine to Cleveland and Miami. And over the next several weeks, you're going to be seeing a lot of assets being seized around the world, some in the U.S., some in Europe, and some elsewhere. The real estate being seized by the DOJ in Louisville, Kentucky, and Dallas, Texas, will be joined by buildings in Miami and Cleveland. So, the DNC media can't hide things because he doesn't let them. So, if this is true, this is going to be the boom moment where Joe Biden's son's dealings with the Ukraine and all that stuff's going to come out. This is kind of the October surprise, and he's not waiting until October. If he's coming out with this stuff now, I can't wait to see what the October surprise is going to be. Oh my God! You want to talk about these people? You want to talk about these people getting desperate? You wait to see if this thing comes to fruition. I hope this guy's right. We'll see if this comes to fruition, and you'll see a third and a fourth wave of COVID, and people you'll start seeing the riots amp up again, and cities burning to the ground. You watch, Mark. This is all because they know this is coming. All this stuff is because they know this is coming. People are going to go down. They're going down. I don't know if Obama and Hillary are going to go to jail, but somebody certainly is. Let's see what happens. All right. I'm going to get my popcorn ready.
on Bill Clinton. This has been the way they've built audiences for 3 decades now.
Yeah, I don't want to claim it's new. I just am arguing that it's getting worse. It's getting more severe. Aaron, your view of this, you know, when you see entire media companies essentially exist to tear down Joe Biden, is there an equivalent to that on the left tearing down Trump?
There really isn't. And, you know, what I would say, it's really a diet of this type of information that a lot of these voters are getting. A lot of the voters, there really isn't. There really isn't. There really isn't.
All right, for my last segment, I'm going to talk a little bit about somebody that I never would have even gave 2 looks at before. I mean, I've seen him around. He's sponsored by like G Fuel, and Old Spice sponsored him, and I think he's one of the original Twitch streamers, and his name is Dr. Disrespect. I mean, since I've been doing this, I've been watching a lot of YouTubers, trying to get some tips and hints and things like that. But you know, this story popped up, and I've been following it for about the last month and a half, where I think Dr. Disrespect signed a $14 million deal with Twitch, and then Twitch just like banned him. No reason, no rhyme, no reason, just banned him. And it was you know, I got caught up in the drama, I think. So, you know, a lot of people were speculating on why it happened and what happened, and yeah, I don't know. Nobody knows. He doesn't even know yet. He still doesn't know. He did his first. He came back, and he's on YouTube now, and he did his first live stream on YouTube, and he got over 500,000 people watching him at one time. Not throughout the stream. There was over 500,000 people watching him. Now, this is a dude that just goes and plays video games and talks. But I gotta say, since I got caught up in the drama, I went and looked at a lot of his older stuff, and he's entertaining. He's very entertaining. He's got like this 80s style, wears this mullet wig, and you know, his graphics and everything else, he does everything himself, and the graphics that he uses and everything is really kind of cool. I think they're kind of cool. I like it. And he brought video streaming it to what it is. You know what I mean? He's like the leader. He's one of the best. I gotta say, he is the best. Now, sitting there for 3 hours watching somebody play a game is not something that I would generally do, but he does make it entertaining. He does make it entertaining. So I'm going to put a couple of videos on here with him.
Doctor, can I get your autograph? Doctor, I love you. Can you sign my poster of you? Doctor, can you take a picture of me, Doctor? Doctor, sign my Steam profile, Doctor. Doctor, invite me to your party chat. Doctor, can I play with you, Doctor? Doctor, shut up! Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
You have a new member of the Slick Daddy Club.
Watch this headshot. Boom. Just like that. I mean, what game is this, man? The guy's dead. It's showing me the UI. It's showing me the prompt. And then, after the guy's dead, I'm still hearing the shot and receiving a shot.
I feel so damn good.
They got to clean up that coding right there. It's a script that's not. It's an inefficient script that someone wrote that's looping. It's a process that's looping. And the way they wrote it, it's terrible.
But Alex, if I plug this in, listen, I don't know, Alex, I've never even streamed on YouTube. I don't even If we plug it in here, underneath here, we're not live, are we?
And you think I'm gonna stop right there? You think that's the end of the line? You think we're done? Did we put the locks on the arena? Champions Club. We're just getting started. The name is Dr. Disrespect.
Come on!
Dark alleyways is where they're gonna find us. The next game is what we're going to get into. The next play, it's going to be a dominating one. The next snipe, 360 minimum. The next victory, celebration time.
Better than this guy. Hell out of my face. What about you? What about this guy? First time he's ever played. This guy's the first time he's ever played right here. Look at him. Hell out of here. Down the mountain, does his first 360, warms it up, boom. Just like that. That is the end of the game.
Oh! Don't you dare peek, Johnny boy! Don't you ever dare peek in the 2x world!
This is my video game realm. This is my video game domain, ladies and gentlemen. Damn. It was really only a matter of time.
This guy, get this guy out of here! I wasn't even touched!
Yeah. Am I a boomer? Huh? Am I a boomer? Huh? Boom! How about that? Am I a boomer? Boom! Come on, I'm not even gonna look at this last guy. You know what I mean? I'm not even gonna look at him. Whoa!
And today we're crushing them! We're slicing them up! Nobody does it better! 6'8", 37-inch vertical leap. And you're telling me that you got the guts to go against me? You've convinced yourself that you're better than me. Wrong. You're not even close. Because I'm at the tippity top. I'm at the tippity top of the mountain. And I'm literally only halfway up.
So there's a good intro for the doctor. I gotta say too, from what I understand, it's all his own original music too. So that's pretty impressive. You've seen the graphics and all that, so it's pretty impressive. One streamer of the year, 1 year, and I thought his acceptance speech was pretty good. So I'm gonna put that up too. So Twitch, you done messed up. He's got another fan, I gotta say. All right.
Okay. So the winner is Dr. Disrespect.
appreciate the Esports Industry Awards tonight. Round of applause. Esports Industry Awards. I'm gonna make this quick. I hate to stand up here 6'8". 6'8", 37-inch vertical leap. Woo! Google prototype scopes, built-in LCD LDT 280 piece Sony technology. I don't want to get into it. But I gotta appreciate Nurse Disrespect over there, standing over there. She's somewhere over there, looking so damn good. I gotta appreciate. Last but not least, I get a lot of messages, DMs, emails, whispers, text messages, letting me know that I've transformed their lives. There's a lot of people that deal with suicide, that deal with hardships in their lives, deal with people that have fought in the war, people that are dealing with cancer. And I get a lot of messages via emails, whatever it is. And one thing, when I started my channel, I had no idea what I was getting into. It was just having a good time. Let's just do our thing. But a year and a half later, I realized a lot of things. I realized I've provided an outlet for a lot of people that are dealing with a lot of hardships. And it makes me proud. So all the people that are dealing with that shit, let's get through it, One step back, 2 steps forward. Let's climb the mountain. Let's dominate. Violence, speed, and momentum, and guess what? We're at the tippity top of the mountain. But we're really only halfway up. Let's do it, baby! Thank you.
Well done, congrats.
Cheers, buddy. Yeah, you're done.
Wow.
For me, so I'll put those videos up, and that's gonna be the end of the video. Love you. See ya.